Calamity. Everyone has a story. Oftentimes, the pages of our stories overlap with others. There are memorable adventures never to be forgotten, and mundane moments inconsequential to history, but vital to the fabric of who we are. This is a story of moments less than easily forgotten. It was a beautiful spring day, or so I've been told. A day lovely and warm, perfect for leisurely exploring a sleepy Midwestern town of hushed streets and quiet square lawns. On this day, we would have found a pretty dark-haired young woman enjoying the sun, pushing her 2-month-old daughter in a stroller, while her other daughter clasped her hand and walked sturdily beside. I've also been told that the oldest daughter was quite the incorrigible little baggage. Outgoing and quick, already learning to speak, she had been walking since she was 9 months old, and running shortly after. She was inquisitive and seemed to fear nothing. And she loved her mother very much. In my mind, I can picture the bright sunshine of that day, the grasses and the flowers awakening in those beautiful rays. I can see birds skipping and jumping along, hear them singing their clever songs. It was the ideal setting for a mommy and her 2 little girls. Moments of soft laughter, gentle love. Something just a little short of perfect, until it wasn't. For imagination's sake, you will have to insert a black veil over what was and what is to come. And when you open your eyes after that dark, what you will see isn't as quiet, quaint, or beautiful. Oh, the streets are still peaceful, but the birds aren't singing. Instead, there is a baby stroller lying on its side with a screaming infant dangling. The pretty dark-haired woman lies in a heap on the sidewalk, semi-conscious. And the oldest little girl, that precocious little dear, is nowhere to be found. Eventually, the woman becomes more alert, rapidly realizing she cannot speak, cannot walk, can barely move. Trapped inside her malfunctioning body, her mind is still yet aware and cognizant of her surroundings, but not the passage of time. Her baby is crying. She tries to move toward her, but fails. She can do nothing to help her. Looking around, she realizes in horror her oldest daughter is gone. She begins to wail, and wail, and wail. Help soon arrives after a neighborhood woman hears her cries. There was a rapid response of police and medical personnel to the scene. The concerned woman had put right the stroller and was comforting the baby, reassuring the agitated woman that she was fine. But nothing seemed to comfort her, as you, dear reader, know what no one else did, that her other daughter was gone. The woman fought being put into the ambulance. She cried and moaned and gurgled and gestured, desperate to communicate there was another to be found, maybe to be helped. Someone had found her identification and reassured her they were going to contact her family. How they would do this in the late 70s, sans the internet, I have no idea. I was told she was like a cornered wild animal, desperate and scared. I've never been told in exact terms how my mother finally managed to get them to understand that I was missing, but she did. I picture in my mind police and neighbors fanning out, calling for the nameless child. I can hear beeps and squawks, men speaking into walkie-talkies and radios. I even see the flash of the emergency vehicle's lights. It must have been something. After a search of about 15 minutes, I was found not 1, but 2 blocks away. I had safely crossed 2 streets and traversed lawns and backyards. There was not a scratch on me, and I was in good spirits. I wonder at that fact even today. They reported that my mother ceased her desperate wailing and crying when they presented me to her. She tried to hold me, but was unable. Her body did not cooperate. It couldn't. She had had a major stroke at the age of 19 years. She would be hospitalized for weeks to come, relearning speech, the ability to write and walk, and even recognizing her body's simple need to use the restroom. Tremors would plague her to this day on her right side. In my mind, I can picture her dark hair falling past the collar of a stark white robe in a room with orange walls. She cries a lot and can't speak to me. But then again, I'm sure I wasn't all that eloquent at 19 months of age in response. The picture is so clear, I've wondered if it is an actual memory. My grandmother says it isn't possible to remember what happened that day so long ago. But I tell you this, the image is crystal clear in my mind even as I type this. A white robe in a room with orange walls. The relationship I have with my mother has gone through many transitions and multiple levels of deterioration. Last year at Christmas, I saw her for the first time in probably 15 years. She has not met my 13-year-old son or my daughter. I carry scars, emotional and otherwise, from a childhood that was less than ideal. There is no doubt in my mind that a time came in our lives together whereupon she hated me. I carry that with me too. But that realization always walks beside the knowledge that through the terror of her stroke that day, she loved me. She loved me enough to make sure they found me through seemingly impossible odds. Then, my mother wanted me.